Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm Tucker, and I'm joined, of course, by the Arbiter of Taste himself, Abram Buhner,
Hello.
and we are going to be talking about something very special today. This is a different episode of BLB. We're
A
skipping this
special,
spiel.
if you
Yes,
will.
it's a special episode. We're skipping the regular spiel of going through the games we played the past week to do something a little bit more concrete. We're going to be talking about our 2021 gaming resolutions. Now, New Year's resolutions, people want to eat healthier, work out. No, we want to play video games and do things related to said video games. So let's just get right into it. What do you the place you want to start with this? Because we have a couple different categories of this. So pitch it to me.
Yeah, Tucker, I think the first thing we should do on this very holy and special episode of Backlog Banter is tell the audience kind of what we have set up here, right? So we
Sure.
have three different categories for the resolutions we're going to chat about. We've got overarching things,
Mm-hmm.
we've got games we specifically want to play, and then we have games that we want the other person to play.
Yeah.
So those are the three things we're rocking with, and I think we should just start at the top with our most wide resolutions.
Okay.
So do you want to hit me with one of those first?
Now I've sort of melded the specific game and the general resolutions because I couldn't think of a ton of like really overarching ones. So
That's fine.
let's start with something a little bit that's like halfway specific, halfway overarching. I want to play more GameCube games. I guess that's a
Ooh,
pretty
okay.
overarching thing. That's a little less specific. But
Yeah,
I have only played Melee and Super Mario Sunshine. Those are the only two GameCube games
that's
I've
it.
like ever played in my entire life,
That's very
and only
interesting.
one
Okay,
of them on a GameCube.
sure.
I guess I played Sunshine one time on a GameCube, but I mean, I just beat Resident Evil 4 last night, which is technically a GameCube game, but I played that on my
Yeah,
PS4. But for GameCube specific games or GameCube exclusive games, no Luigi's Mansion, no Metroid Prime. I mean, all those franchises and GameCube editions of said franchises completely escape me. So my one of my resolutions is just to fill out that library a little bit for myself.
I think that's a great call. The GameCube is one of my favorite systems. It's unfortunately and aggravatingly annoying to get your hands on a lot of GameCube
Mm-hmm.
stuff, not only because Nintendo refuses to re-release it, but because people our age actually have money, so they want to buy these games that they grew up with again. So the
Yeah.
prices for GameCube is just through the roof right now.
I think they're probably on the whole the most expensive Nintendo games to collect at the moment that aren't Switch games, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, right now they definitely are. Hopefully Nintendo will just put them on Switch
Yeah.
or put them somewhere, even if they're at a really premium price point to just kind of pop this bubble. Because there are some GameCube games I want to play that I haven't played and I don't have in my collection back there,
Hmm.
but I'm very excited for you to play more with Library, and we should
Yeah,
play some of these together because I'm a
for
big
sure.
GameCube
Yeah.
fan.
We've got a few plans in the works, but I think there's certainly a lot of them that are kind of must plays. I was looking around on my backlog and I was like organizing by console and I organized by GameCube, but it was just like just Melee sitting there. And I'm like, oh wow, that's really sad.
Well, I've got one in a similar spirit to that
I
I'll
do own
hit you.
Odama on GameCube, which is the
Fair.
microphone ball army game.
Yes, yes, a very weird game. Very, very weird game. My one of my resolutions is in a similar vein to yours. I want to play more Microsoft and Sega games because
Okay,
these are two big spheres that kind of pass me by.
sure.
In terms of Microsoft games, outside of Halo, I really haven't played anything they have.
Okay.
Um, and this I'm hoping to get fixed very shortly in very short order. And once I do, I want to check out a lot of Microsoft's back catalog. I want to check out some of Rare's adjacent stuff.
Yeah.
And considering how great the series units are in terms of backwards compatibility, it's going to be pretty easy to check out stuff whether I want to play Crimson Skies because I'm a good old Star Fox fan, or I want to play, Sea of Thieves, whatever. I think I'm going to have a pretty easy time doing that. In a similar vein, more Sega stuff, because outside of Sonic, I'm really not familiar with what they have. I'd really like to play in particular some Panzer Dragoon, some
Sure.
more Streets of Rage, some Echo the Dolphin. Nah, I
Okay.
just threw that one in there. And
I own Echo the Dolphin on Sega Genesis. It's not
of
a
course you do.
particularly good game.
Jet Set Radio, I'd like to play things like
Oh
that.
yeah.
So one thing I want to do this year is expand out into some more Microsoft and Sega stuff.
Yeah, okay, so I'm actually gonna spin right off that to something that is essentially similar, but not the same. I want to start a couple series. I'm just gonna name a couple of series that I want to get into. I mean
All
that
right.
this is a really one that's like kind of specific games, but also kind of general. I want to start the Yakuza series, which is Sega, which is why I was doing that
Sure.
there. And also Danganronpa and Metal Gear Solid. All three of those series are ones that I own entries for or have access to Yakuza through Game Pass.
Yeah.
But that I just feel like would be good to have in my repertoire, especially Metal Gear Solid.
So, well, this is a very specific one, but I want to play Metal Gear Solid 1 in particular this
Mhm.
year. That's very high at the top of my list. I had it last year, but I got a fucked up copy of it, so I couldn't
Mm,
actually make progress in it. I had to return it
sure.
to the store, my retro game shop. This retro game shop is fantastic. Their prices are a little bit expensive, but they got great selection. They're very friendly and helpful. Been going there for years. The day I went and I got Metal Gear Solid and Super Mario Sunshine, both games didn't work. The only time in literally years of patronizing this store did these
Patronizing,
games what's the word?
being a patron of.
Spending a lot of money unnecessarily at this retro game shop as I was wanted to do before the pandemic happened.
Mhm.
Both games didn't work. Of course, we got Sunshine and 3D All Stars. No great way to play MGS1. I think I'll probably have to get it on GOG and play it on
Sure.
my laptop. But no, Metal Gear Solid, I definitely want to play this year.
Okay. I'm gonna go to something again pretty similar to what I was saying with starting a few series. There's a couple more. There's a couple series that I want to continue that like I feel like I need
Sure.
to continue more of. And these are ones that I've sort of gotten into a little more recently, but I think would be important. Zelda, of course, for
Heard of
the
it?
what 35th anniversary.
35th.
Uh, and Metroid.
Heard
For
of
its
it?
anniversary. Those are both series that I've played a little bit of, but I certainly need to get a little more deeper into. And also Mega Man and Final Fantasy are both series that I think just
Heard of
playing a
them.
handful of those entries in those series, I have access to them and might as well get a little bit more of under my belt.
Yeah, Mega Man in particular, I'd like to play some more of because I really like what I have played in Mega Man. I haven't played a ton. Two, I've played a lot of, because everyone's played a lot of two and a little bit of X and things like that. But
Mhm.
I've always kind of skirted around it. Actually, the WiiWare ones I played a lot of because they wrote about them in Nintendo Power all the time. So I got this when I was a dumb little kid. And I couldn't get very far, but
Mhm.
I'm very interested to play more Mega Man with you for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Before we get into more specifics, I want to hit you with um, one of my overarching goals that kind of ties into a lot of the series you've been talking about. I want to play more classic games and not get
Mm.
distracted by fucking random 2021 AAA titles that I probably don't need to play.
Sure.
For instance, I was thinking to myself, do I want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Immortals Phoenix Rising?
I remember those questions being asked.
And then I thought to myself, I could also play neither of them
Hmm.
and play, spoiler alert, for a review we'll be doing very soon, Resident Evil 4,
Yes. A
which is a
game
much,
that A, cheaper, B,
yes,
you already own. Well, you recently purchased it.
yes,
C, probably a little more important in the grand legacy of things.
yes, and also better.
Better, but also shorter, so you can fit
Yes.
in more things. A lot of
So
reasons to choose that over.
a lot of reasons. And now I love a good AAA experience, and there's a lot that I am excited for,
Yeah.
which I'll, of course, be putting things to the side to play. But I want to be better about not jumping on things like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Sharp FE, or other random AAA things that I don't need to be playing. When
Yeah.
there's tons of stuff, like when we get into more specific things that I want to play and I think are probably more important to just
Hmm.
for the context and for understanding the history of the industry to actually play first. So that's definitely one of my goals.
So I'm going to end off this overarching segment with two quick things. These are just sort of very personal.
Yeah,
Is beat more games on my backlog than I did last year.
sure.
I beat I think 18 games that are like I counted as on my backlog from last year, ones that I had access to or owned or have been meaning to play for a while that I actually played. And I don't think that's unreasonable. If I focus a little more, that's a pretty I say about 20. I think will be good. Now, honestly, probably can do more than that. But also, I want to buy less games or at least spend less money on games because
Sure.
I found I was looking back on all the years that I've bought a bunch of games, and I progressively have played more of the games that I've bought each year, and bought less of them. But I notice a lot of games that I just purchase on a whim and that I never end up touching.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen because I think making my money more worth it, playing the games that I already own, and just sort of melding those two things together, saving money. Of course, I'm a
Yeah.
college student. I have rent to pay. I've got tuition to pay. Spending money and buying less games so I can focus on the ones I already have is just sort of a general deal.
So I've never really been one to buy games and not play them. I've got a couple things I've never touched, but for the most part, when I buy something, I at least play a good chunk of it.
Sure.
But that ties into my last overarching thing, which is I just want to finish more games
Yeah.
instead of jumping between things, which I'm notorious for. And you have noted, and it frustrates me too. So I want to be a little bit more deliberate in the things that I
Sure.
start, actually either finishing them or not finishing them because I am not clicking with it, but having
Yeah.
played, you know what, I'm gonna shelf this and I'm done with this forever.
Of course. Yeah.
I don't want to do something like Ghost again, where I play Ghost and then I stop and I'm like, hey, I really like Ghost, but I never finished it.
Yeah.
When I,
No,
when
exact same thing happened to me with Ghost of Tsushima. I played the
yeah,
first 3-4 hours of that, and I don't know. I think I got distracted by A Link to the Past or something like that.
fair.
But no, I totally agree with you, and I understand what you're saying. Those kind of games are the ones that piss me off the most. Is looking at I have a list on backlog that are games that I own that I haven't played enough of, and it's the played
Yeah.
enough of ones that I'm sitting there. I'm like, I love Dishonored. Why have I not beaten Dishonored? Like that, it's not a long game. I don't know why I've never pushed through to the end, which is not anywhere on this list, but that's just an example.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely solid concept.
So I think I'm ready for my specific things now. Of course, I shared one with
Okay.
Metal Gear, but I've got a couple more.
Yeah, I've got a few more as well. I'm just gonna go randomly. Half-Life 2. That is
Okay.
an important game, widely considered one of the best games. I have had it for fucking ever. I've had it on Steam for years. And I've started it. I probably played the first 3 hours of it or something like that at one point. But I just need to push through, beat Half-Life 2. Like that's not, it's not a big deal, but just
Yeah.
I need to beat Half-Life 2.
In the vein of influential shooters, I want to beat the remainder of the Bungie Halo games that I haven't yet.
Okay.
Um, I and played, and we both reviewed Combat Evolved, and I played quite a bit of Halo 2 Anniversary before my Xbox killed itself.
Hmm.
And when that's up and running, I want to finish 2 and then play 3 and play Reach. Frankly, I'm a lot less interested in playing the 343 ones. I
Sure.
will to get ready for Infinite, which I am very excited about. But my main goal is to beat the Bungie titles.
Yeah, and that's kind of similar to one actually that I have on here is one of my quote unquote specific ones, but I want to play the rest of the 3D Mario games that I haven't. I
Okay.
beat all three of the ones in the 30 All Stars collection last
Yeah.
year, and while I've played some of the ones that I haven't beaten yet, 3D World in particular, I have never played 3D Land, which is coming tomorrow, I think, in the mail,
Yeah.
or Galaxy 2. So all three of those games, and yes, I know 3D World is getting plus Bowser's Fury, which I'm still on the fence if that's the way I'm going to play it or not. But I have Galaxy 2 and I have 3D Land, and I'm just going to beat those at some point within the year. So I've got the whole 3D Mario legacy in my belt.
Now, I had a bonus resolution I want to talk about at the end that I wanted to tie both of us into, but I'm going to bring it up now because I think now is the perfect time to do it. I think we need to absolutely both get 3D World plus Bowser's Fury and either
Mm-hmm.
stream it in online co-op or do a video about it, because
Okay.
that would be so much fun. And
Yeah.
especially considering you have played it but never finished it, I think that this
Mm-hmm.
would be great content and a great way for you to play the game.
Yeah.
And we both talk about how we want to play more co-op titles together.
I think that let's just throw that in there as a expansion of the bonus.
Yeah.
Over this year, play more, not only just co-op games together, but online games that we can play together. I mean,
Yeah.
we have played a couple. We played Splatoon together. We played Smash together. We played a couple things. But we've talked about making a BLB Minecraft server with us playing Minecraft together. There's plenty of co-op games that we could play together, and I think that's a solid resolution. Just
Yes.
at least try a few games that we can play together. And okay, I'll bite. Let's just do it. We'll do online for the 3D World Bowser's Fury.
That's good content and views too.
Mm-hmm.
First Nintendo release of the year.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, But since I already talked about Metal Gear Solid, I'm actually going to sub that out for the one that barely missed the list and ties into
Okay.
your GameCube goal. I am finally going to play F-Zero GX.
Yes.
Few games have tantalized me as much as GX, but I've never played.
Mhm.
That's another one that's just kind of expensive, kind of hard to get your hands on. It's not Chibi Robo or Path of Radiance expensive, but
Yeah.
it's still sitting around basically full price, full $60 to get a used copy of the game. But I love the original on SNES. I especially love X on N64. And considering that the original creator of the series, as of today, was like, "Hey, I'd work on
Yeah.
another F-Zero game,"
Saw
which, by
that.
the way, means
Nothing.
nothing.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me of the fact that I really, really want to play GX. So
Yeah. I always hear you mention the fact that you haven't played it, and then nothing comes of that. It's like
yes,
every few weeks you're like, I haven't played F-Zero GX. Like, you're certainly right. Doesn't really mean much. But this is a completely random one that I don't think I've ever talked about. But I want to play Psychonauts this year. I don't know why I haven't. I own it on Steam. It was very cheap, but it's right up my alley in so many regards. I think it'd be great to play through Psychonauts.
so I mean, I think you remember this, but when I bought Resident Evil 4 on sale, I also bought Psychonauts on sale.
Sure, yeah,
So I think that I'm smelling another BLB review in
yeah.
the
I
near future.
I mean, we already have the graphic of our faces stretched over Raz, so
Yes, we do.
we can
Unfortunately, we do.
we can make thumbnails very easily.
And sets us up nicely to do Psychonauts 2 when that releases later this
Sure.
year
Yeah.
on Game Pass, I believe. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm surprised. Is the original not on
I
Game
believe
Pass?
it is. I believe
Then
it
why
is.
the fuck did you buy it on PS4?
Well, because A, I didn't know that. B, my Xbox is
Yeah,
disposed.
sure.
And C, I had a $75 gift card and I used three of those dollars to get Psychonauts.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know
So
that was cheap. It was
yeah,
that cheap.
because it was
Okay.
on sale again on the holiday sale.
But that actually is my last one. So you've got other
Okay.
things to wrap up, and then we can get into the recommendations section.
Yeah, I've got three. I'm gonna rapid fire quickly.
Holy shit.
One, you talked about it, Metroid Prime.
Hmm.
I have I have probably played 30 to 40 hours of the entire trilogy,
Okay.
but
Never
of
beaten one of
that,
them.
none of those have been to completion.
Hmm.
I want to. Metroid Prime is also not very fucking long, so
Yeah.
I want to just finish Metroid Prime One. My goal is to finish Metroid Prime One imminently. So
Hmm.
then, if the trilogy does get announced for Switch, which I think it's probably going to, I can play 2 and 3 on Switch. Hopefully,
Sure.
fingers crossed. But really, fingers crossed for new Metroid content. But that's a discussion for another time.
Of course. Yeah.
Um, Okami HD.
Yeah.
The number of times I've almost bought Okami numbers at least 3. So I think it's probably time that I finally play that one.
I
And
own the original. I own Okami on the Wii. I would love to play the HD version of that because that game looks fucking gross on the Wii. Let me tell you. Holy shit. I popped it in one day and I'm like, I've played a lot of Wii games in my day and they usually look a lot better than this. I mean, of
yes.
course, the art style holds up, but just like texture quality wise and like,
Yeah.
fidelity wise, that game is fucking gross.
And the last one is a game that has lived rent free in my head for fucking a bajillion years.
I hate that phrase.
I do too. This is the first time I've used it in a professional context, the professional context of Backlog Banter. But it's appropriate because it goddamn will not leave me alone. And that is Earthbound on the
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Nintendo,
Sure.
which I have spent many years of my life thinking, I haven't played Earthbound. I should play Earthbound. My one and only character flaw is that I haven't played Earthbound. This will be the year that I finally play Earthbound. So
And now that you've said it on video, it's got to happen. It's
it's
got to
gotta
happen.
happen.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to assign each other 2 games?
Well, okay, so I brought 2, but it's more like 5.
Okay, well mine is more like 3, so it's fine. Kind of 4.
Okay, there's like reasons for each of these.
Well, sure.
But so my first one, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
is Portal. But I'm saying Portal as in Portal 1 and 2, because personally, neither of them are that long.
Okay.
And I think playing both of them is like, playing Portal. I think you said you're building a PC. Of course, I think you can get it on Xbox because it was on
Yes, you can.
360. But I think playing it on Steam would probably be the best way if once you do build a PC. Very
Yeah.
cheap on there. And so Portal, as a thing, that's
Yeah.
one, quote unquote. And then the other thing is the Stanley Parable.
Okay.
which I also put in sort of, air parentheses, which is not a thing, but I put in air parentheses because hopefully you play it through Ultra Deluxe, which is coming to Switch and PS4 at some fucking indiscriminate time in the future. And I
That's
said the
probably,
Game
yeah.
Awards 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and has just been delayed. And goddamn, hopefully it comes out this year because if it does, that's my most anticipated title of 2021.
Okay.
But that'll be the way you should play it. Updated visuals, more content, modern system. But if you can't, it's usually goes for $3-4 on Steam. So that's a nothing. And it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Yes. I suppose I will. I really don't like puzzle games.
It's not a puzzle game.
It's
Oh,
a
Portal. Portal is a puzzle
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Stanley Parable I want to play
Okay.
because he talks so highly about it. I will regretfully play Portal. That's fine. Again, I think that game has co-op, right? One of them does.
Portal 2 is an online co-op, yes.
Then maybe we should
and
do that, and you
Atlas.
can solve the puzzles for me, and I could just jump through holes and things of that nature. The first thing is something you bought. Now, I know you haven't played it yet, but I would love for you to play through Wolfenstein, the New
Yes.
Order, and the New Colossus.
Yes. And that's sort of my Portal 1 and 2 thing. So
Yes.
I think we balance out there.
Yeah, I'm lumping those together. I love these games. I think that these are excellent narrative shooters that have a sort of classical gameplay design philosophy that I think you'd really like.
Mm-hmm.
They're cover based to an extent, but if you futz with the difficulty, you can play them more like Doom if you want. And I think that the way that they're designed around secrets and around lore elements and more traditional health pickups, and the weapons are all really punchy, and the narratives are pretty interesting. I think you're really going to like these games. Specifically, I think New Colossus is better, but I think playing 1 and then 2 is the best way to go. So
Yep.
I really implore you to check those out.
I certainly will. Is that your 2 or no? You've got more.
I've got 2 more that are tied together, but they're basically completely unrelated games. Do you want to hit me with another one?
Well, actually, I'm in the exact same boat as you. I've got 2 more that are tied
Okay.
together but are different games.
Okay.
Which is BioShock and Banter-Kazooie. Both games you have access to, you have started,
Okay.
but I do think is very important for both of those because I love both of those, and you have enjoyed both of those to just beat them.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't think I only tacked that on because it's not a hard thing for me to convince you to do because I think you want to play both those games. Yeah, so
yes,
just I wanted to bring it up in this video so it's more concrete and so you can go back at the end of 2021 and be like, hey, did Abram actually do this or is he being a fucking wimp again?
Now, Tucker, you know what one of the last 2 games is?
It's probably Star Fox 64.
Yes, it is Star Fox 64. Yeah. Star Fox 64 it's just simply phenomenal. And now I think that if I have to walk to Austin or to Lincoln and sit down and hold you at knife point as you play more than just the first mission of Star Fox 64, I'll risk a felony to make sure you actually play.
I have played more than the first mission of Star Fox 64.
Okay. Well, I don't believe you.
Okay.
Because if you had played more, you would love the game as much as I do.
Oh.
But
what about everyone else who played the game who doesn't like it as much as you?
In all seriousness, I would love you to I just love you. That's the bottom line. I would love you to finish the game, and then I'd really like to have a conversation, especially if you still don't like it by the end. I think it'd be a lot of fun to have the great Corneria debate as we talk about one of my favorite games of all time, and one that maybe doesn't connect with you, or maybe it will by the time you learn in systems a little bit more. And the other one is related. I would really like you to play Sin and Punishment.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Sin and Punishment is probably a version of Star Fox 64 that you might like.
I don't know the differences that might help me connect to it a little more.
Well, I think the gameplay has some more elements that might compel you. I think the fact that it has a stronger narrative might compel you. Sure. The way the difficulty is balanced, I think you'd really like that, and the more dynamic element to that game. But I think you should play Star Fox 64 first, and then play Sin and Punishment. And we can have a discussion about Nintendo 64 on-rail shooters that Abram won't shut up about. I think that sounds like a wonderful way to spend our time.
That's all 2021 is leading up to. Let's be real. It's the only important thing.
I completely agree.
Okay, well, anything else you want to say? Because I think that does it for me. I've mentioned everything on my notepad.
I think that does it for me too. We're gonna play a lot of games this year.
It's
We
true.
make a lot of videos this year.
It's true. I think the majority of this we should try to make discussions of reviews of, however,
Yeah.
incorporate into BLB if it's not big enough. But I think this is great. I think we can look back in a year. I think we should do a retrospective and see how we did. If of course there's things that we missed, which I think inevitably there will be. But and hopefully 2021 goes quote unquote as planned.
I hope so too. And let's hope that I'm not recording the retrospective from jail after threatening you with physical violence because you didn't play Star Fox 64.
Probably wouldn't be the first time you've done that to someone. Have you ever threatened anyone else, or am I the first one? Am I taking your Star Fox 64 violence virginity?
Well, when you put it that way, I think that's exactly what you're doing.
Good, finally.
Well, on that note, I think we're pretty much done here.
Actually, hold on. Quick last thing. I sent out a fucking calling card, much like the like Persona Jokerman, Joker Personaman, to the boys on the backlot, link in the description if you want to join our Discord server. So what some of their 2021 gaming resolutions are. Matthew Compton said to branch out on to different gaming genres and styles. So let's. It's not particularly difficult at saying that basically all he plays is Zelda and Pokemon. So I think there are other games out there. Nisk said to write more game reviews, go through the entire Zelda series, Resident Evil series, and Metal Gear Solid series, which is that's a big ask for those three series, and play through his backlog of 170 games.
Sure.
And then, which is that's fucking ludicrous. And then Abhi said finish games like Mario Sunshine, Galaxy, and Hades, which he has played all of those. So that's not a big ask either.
That reminds me a lot of the answers that I got when I asked the question, what are your 2021 game New Year's resolutions in the backlot?
Did you do that? I don't remember.
Yes.
Oh.
Did you ask that again today? And as people
Yes,
said,
just now.
That's fucking awesome because I asked people on the first, and they gave those exact same answers.
Oh.
Go join our Discord server. We've got like 4 people in there. We need
True.
variety. At the same time, check out the rest of our videos. This is Backlog Banter, but usually Backlog Banter looks a little bit different than this. Usually we're talking about the games we've been playing. It's kind of a casual chit chat, catching up on what we've been taking out of our backlogs, maybe putting in just to take out again, because God knows we both do a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
So give this video a like, give us a subscription. I said give, I'm not asking. It's a demand, and you're going to comply. Happy 2021, I guess.
Yep. See you guys later.
Resident Evil 4 is Icky Luigi's Mansion.
Luigi's Mansion is actually controlled by Ramon Salazar.